Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I am Ryan, your host, and I'm joined today with the one and only Andy Mabs, otherwise known as Park End Goodison. How are you, Mabsy?
Yeah, good, mate. Waiting for the new season now. Want England to win the World Cup, and then let's get on with the season.
Mabs, the elephant in the room. We haven't done a video in a little while, but it's nice to be back, isn't it, online?
Yes, absolutely. It's just been a bit of a while. Obviously, not as much has happened, but apart from the big thing that's happened. But yeah.
So let's get straight into it. We can't not talk about England getting to the final of Europe. It hasn't happened. They've never got to a European final, and they haven't been to a final in 50 years. How does it feel as an England fan to get there? And because presumably you haven't seen much success in your lifetime.
No, not at all. But it's weird because I don't know what it is this year. I haven't got that buzz. Still not got. I mean, we've got through to the final, but I've not got that buzz, and I can see it everywhere you go. There's no buzz. Don't get it.
Do you think it's the Scouts, not English Brigade?
No. This isn't. No, this is not just the Scouts. It's not just Liverpool. It was down south when I was in London the other week, just before the semis. No, I didn't see it then. Even my mate I was down with commented he's not seen any cars with flags on or anything. It's just, I don't know. I just, the football we're playing, it's not to get exciting about, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know what it is.
Is it a bit boring, is it, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The football's boring, and I think just Gareth Southgate, I mean, I can't criticise the man who's got us through to a final, but okay, apart from beating Ukraine 4-0, it's been dross. I don't know. It's just not.
You know what, Andy? I think there's an element of being an Evertonian in there, a little bit negative, maybe that something good happening, you're still looking for more. And let's try and keep it Everton related now, and look at Calvert-Lewin and Jordan Pickford. Pickford has broken Gordon Banks' record for the number of minutes gone without conceding a goal. For me, I would still sell him while his stock is high, and I would have the Denmark goalkeeper over him any day of the week. But I don't know how people feel about that, because there's a lot of support from him. Very defensive of Pickford now.
I mean, as I say, he turns it on when he plays for England, doesn't he? He really does turn it on when he plays for England, and I don't know whether because he cares about England and doesn't care about Everton. I don't know if I'm being harsh on the lad. I just don't know. But he seems to set up his game when he's playing for England, and then when with us,
he's really well protected for England. That's if you look at their defence, there's a lot of pace in that defence. Walker, Trippier, George.
But if you see him when he plays for England, he's shouting at them. You know that I think it was it the last game, the one before, and I think he was 1-on-1 with the keeper, and it was a defensive mistake after I don't know, it was a Germany game. It might have been the Germany game, but then Pickford went out and dressed down the defense. Where does he do that for us? Doesn't.
I think he is a leader. I think he communicates really well. You saw what Manuel Neuer said about Pickford, in that he said, he talks a lot to his defence. So that is something other goalkeepers are picking up on, and I think that is one of his better qualities. I'm just going to pick up on a comment. I know this guy. This is John Maguire. He's very famous on Twitter. He's a very popular Evertonian. Thanks for joining us, John. He's saying Pickford has been brilliant since Christmas for us.
The results hasn't shown it, has it?
Well, no, but if you look individually at the Everton team, he's been one of the more prominent players who've achieved something. So people have been saying, when the England fans were going, Pickford's been amazing. He's been good for 6 months plus. It's not just something that's happened at the tournament. He has been good coming into the tournament for a number of months. Thanks, John.
Well, there's not much we can say on the but I just don't know. As I say, I mean, maybe Sunday I'll feel it, but I don't get the sense that there's no I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's weird. We're in the final of the Europe, and I'll watch it, and don't get me wrong, but yeah, just don't feel it. I don't feel it out on the streets. You know what I mean? Every week is not. I don't know. It's weird.
not quite Everton, is it? You know, you don't have that passion for England in the same way. I mean, obviously, you want them to do well, but
yeah, but all the other competitions have been, got the hope and it's been smashed. But I generally was up for them. This one, I don't know what it is. What's your thoughts, guys? Does any of you feel the same or disagree with me or what?
I'm just going to bring in John again. John's saying it's not down to one man. He's referring to the second half of the season. He thinks, Pickford, only for him, it would have been a lot worse second half of the season. I mean, yeah, we were abysmal, weren't we? Let's be honest. Should we talk about Calvert-Lewin? What do you make?
He's not disgusted that he's not even getting on the bench. He's not even getting on the bench. Why? At the end of the day, if Kane gets injured, if Kane does get injured, and then where's the backup? There's not on the bench, and he's not consistent. I don't know why he's not even making the bench most games. Don't get it, and then not coming on, or coming on just doing like 10 minutes. I feel sorry for the lad. I really do.
I think it's harsh that he's not been in the squads. And I look at the role that Harry Kane is playing him in the first 3 games. He was turning like a boat, really slow, really sluggish. He wasn't effective. And then obviously he got the goals and he's now the saviour of England. He missed that penalty. It was a shite penalty, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And then we got the rebounding. But I saw nothing that he did that maybe Calvert-Lewin couldn't have done. Certainly as an option because he looked knackered coming off the bench.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I get it that he had to, I get it that, Kane starts ahead of DCL, absolutely. But from not to be on the bench, I just think it's an insult to the lads. Personally, I think it's not right. It's not fair on him.
I mean, I saw when Calvert-Lewin came on, I think it was the Ukraine game, 15 minutes at the end, he looked knackered. He's looking a bit more like Andy Carroll. A bit more lanky with the hair up and moving a bit slow.
But he's not getting the game time. So at the end of the day, he's not even making the bench. So I don't know what he's doing in training. And I think it's just a wasted opportunity. I mean, we're winning. So,
maybe he doesn't think that technically.
I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't think he's at that level. I mean, I personally don't think.
Why take him? But then why take him? He's not at the level. Why take him?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, he would have scored those tap-ins, and he would have better hold at play than Kane. That's my opinion. But I'm not. We can't complain. He's got to the final, and he's been vindicated. His decision, to play Kane has come off. I think it is harsh leaving Calvert-Lewin out because he leaves himself with no recognised centre forward. But Mavs, look at it like this: Rashford can't get in the team, and you're talking about elite footballers. Sancho is joining United. Yeah. There's a lot of good names that aren't getting in the team. He's got his favourites. Even Jack Grealish can't get in. Really?
Yeah, no, certainly get. I do. I get it. But yeah, it's just one of them, innit? But there's not much we can say on D-Sal because he's not had the game time because he's not been selected most games or not even been on the bench most games. So yeah, we can't dwell on it unfortunately because I can't criticise and can't say he's been playing well because honestly we just don't know.
I think it's harsh, perhaps maybe when you talk about Calvert-Lewin when he does come on not really doing anything. We've only got that 15 minutes, and we've only got.
So we can't judge him on that, can we? At the end of the day,
he's playing in a really disruptive team. He's not playing with the original players that started the game. Yeah. So, in fairness, he's coming on when there's been loads of change. It might be just to hold your, there's not really the ambition in the team. So I feel like any criticism of him would be harsh. It's just frustrating. He's not getting in, and he's not getting a look in, and. Yeah, he's never going to get in front of Kane. But why can't Kane maybe players drop a bit deeper and let Calvert-Lewin lead the line? And you've got a really proper focal point.
But now Kane's banging them in, you don't want to be dropping them or dropping them back there. Yeah, I can see Southgate's point now. At the end of the day, Sterling's doing let's be honest, Sterling's doing a sterling job, and he's doing a brilliant job. Yeah. Absolute quality player. Absolute quality. So I think maybe it's because that's why DCL's not getting it, because the two are performing up top now.
Mm.
So, I mean, as I say, I can't vote Sterling, I can't vote Kane at the moment. So, end of the day, it is what it is.
What do you think of the Scouse Not English Brigade? I mean, I'm finding that is a lot more of the Liverpudlian type fans.
They do my head in. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They're just idiots, because it's not about them. That's what it is. It's not about them. Simple as, and they're just bitter, twisted knobheads. And the Scouse not Scouse not English is a load of bollocks. Liverpool isn't England. It's ridiculous.
Get behind the tree. I'm hoping David's going to join us on the stream.
Just a point on this, right? So, if Boris, and it's a very big, it's not going to happen, has a bank holiday on Monday because we win, it's not going to happen. I can guarantee that for a start. But our only Scouts not English cop-eights were going to work, or will they take the day off?
I think there's going to be a few people saying...
There's not going to be a bank holiday. It's the most stupidest idea in the world, right? But what I don't get is, but my point being is, those Scouts not English dickheads would suddenly be, oh yeah, I'll take the day off, won't I? Take the day off paid. Oh yeah, happy to do that. Just my point there, but there we go.
No, I know exactly what you mean, but yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? Such short notice. It's hardly going to.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Maybe you'll get one for the parade. I don't know, but I doubt it.
It would be really good for the country and maybe the economy as well, because you'd get people out celebrating. And
I just don't think it'll happen. I just think it's too short notice. I mean, the pub's going to be shut at 11:45. It's not going to happen. It's too short notice. It needs to do it tomorrow. Who's going to do it and open the pubs up until midnight? But that ain't going to happen.
Definitely. I'm really hoping David's going to come on now, just because my battery's running a little bit low and I want to try and charge it without going off. So if we can get David on, if you're watching, please can you set up and make for the next 5 minutes, because we want to keep the stream going. We have got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's be honest, it's been a while since we've caught up. Just want to go back and rewind now to the appointment of Rafa Benitez. We did a really popular video, just before the appointment. It was very, very against the appointment of Rafa Benitez.
Yeah.
And then there was a small selection of Evertonians. I think this was before all of the banners and all the hate, who were feeling a little bit more diplomatic about this and were willing to give him a chance. A very small number. And then what happened was the banners and the threats. I don't know.
Idiots.
You know where you live.
All idiots. Yeah. Absolute pathetic dickhead. Sorry to be, but that's just bollocks.
All that did actually was kind of allow a group of Evertonians who were very much against Rafa to come together, and as they do, as Everton Football Club have always done, and being really tolerant and incredibly supportive of football people. And it allowed them to actually, let's just say, Rafa got more support as a result of what happened.
Yeah.
Because but also there was an element of people losing patience, getting fed up. It was 4 weeks without an appointment. The season was, coming along very quickly, and we didn't have a manager. And I think people had resigned the fact to Rafa being maybe a sensible choice, in terms of he's not going to fuck us off and go straight to a bigger club, is he?
Yeah, but we're convenient because his house is down the road. Let's not kid ourselves.
Do you think that's what it is? It's a marriage of convenience.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's hard to get excited about it. He's here now. As I say, I love Everton more than I hate Rafa, so of course I'm going to go and support the team, and he's now an Everton manager, so be it, I'll support him. That's as simple as. I'm not, as I said, just not going to be. I'm not overly made up at the signing, but I've just realised nothing's going to change, and I miss going to the game, and I miss it. So yeah, of course it is what it is. I mean, as I said, I keep reiterating, I hate it. As I said, it's more the fact that I love Everton more than I hate him.
There's something a little bit sickly about him being there. At the same time, there's something quite amusing as well. I mean, I don't know whether these are the emotions I want to be having for an Everton manager, but amusing to see a die-hard Liverpool, legend wearing the Everton tracksuit, smiling, and then
but how many times has Jamie Carragher done that on Sky Sports? I remember once it was at Finch Farm in the full Everton trackie.
So money.
It does, and yeah, Carragher's a funny one because is he a blue, is he a red? Because you just don't know with him. Half the time he's a red, half the time he's a blue. What? The way that Rafa could have got everyone on side is this, he needs to come out and just say, I'm an Evertonian now, right? In my opinion, that's what he needs to do because that will piss off it'll burn the bridges for the Copites, and then what? It would just piss them off so much. He burns bridges, and he's not done that. For me, it's like, well, for all what you said, if you genuinely mean it, just come out and say I'm an Evertonian. Go out and say it. Go on, Rafa. I bite you to say it.
I think he would win make his life a lot easier, but he would potentially ruin his Liverpool legacy by doing that.
Well, tough. He's an Everton manager now. He must have tarnished his legacy by crossing the park. Surely.
Mabs, just while I go and see if I can get David on the chat on the video, can you tell us from your experience speaking to Liverpool fans, what has they been saying about Rafa? How do they feel about Rafa Benitez? Are they
good, or... You know what? The Copites haven't mentioned it. Honestly, they've not mentioned it. And I think that's weird because they've not taunted us about getting Rafa. I mean, a few of them way before kind of like said one particular said to me, when Carlo Ancelotti got the sack, or not, sorry, resigned rather, he went, you'll just get Rafa Benitez and he'll take us down. But then nothing since. It's really weird. I've not heard any jibs about him or, he's going to take us down. I don't know. Heard nothing.
Can I say something? Yeah, I think he's going to go down as the best Everton manager in the Premier League era, or he will go down as I don't really know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that he's either going to leave Everton loved by Evertonians, or he will leave loved by Liverpoolians. And yeah, he's gonna. You can just imagine the jokes if he did something like.
Oh, if he took us down, yeah, it would be Asian Benitez. I think the worst thing is we need to win that. We need to win the Anfield derby because it's going to make me sick to my stomach being there. We're 2-0 down 5 minutes ago, and those cunts will fucking chant his name. They will. Absolutely fucking horrible bastards will do that, and then that will make me sick to my stomach. So we need to go and win.
David's going to take over for a brief minute while I just try and sort this laptop. So,
sounds.
You want to keep talking about David? You let us know what you think about Rafa Benitez, and we haven't had your reaction to his appointment.
Oh, Rafa Benitez. Well, I didn't really want Rafa when the news came about, but
nobody did.
Really, at the end of the day, I don't know who I wanted because there was just no options really.
I would have been so happy with Nuno Espirito Santo, and I think I'll do well at Spurs, and I think we've missed a trick on that.
I was quite content with Nuno actually, and I was positive in some ways about his scouting network with Mendes and the players he's brought into Wolves, and also about the way he plays, and he can play attacking football in different formations, and his backroom team have obviously got them nailed down with a small squad with very few injuries. So, those are things that we could have benefited here. And I think at the end of the day, what we've gone with is a choice that can do a similar job as Ancelotti as we could have got, basically a slightly more defensive-minded coach with a lot of experience in winning situations.
So do you reckon we're going to score and then sit back?
I think it will be a lot like that. Yeah, I think it will be a 1-0s and nicking games.
We can grind them out and win. I mean, as
look,
I say,
if you do it, England have done it, haven't they? So if you can do it,
that's what I was talking about then. Just so
I think we're just fed up and we want to see attacking football, don't we?
Yeah, and then Martinez.
I mean, at least what a positive for me now is our attack is really poor out wide. So the opportunity for Benitez to go and get somebody to bring in players now, there is a real opportunity, and I want to see him bring in some attacking.
We just need to bring in players. Again, we've been very quiet. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's figuring out what he needs. I mean, as I say, everything's gone dead, but obviously it's silly season. They're starting to return now, the footballers, and hopefully we've got to move them.
We're getting linked with different names to the ones we were getting linked with a few weeks ago, aren't we?
But again, links never happening.
It seems very slow. It does seem slow. And I think, as you say, he might be assessing his options, but he did say that he knows the players, and I'm sure he does. He's watched them enough times to know they're a bunch of slugs. And, he's just figuring it out, isn't he? But then the players get their opportunity to impress. You might go into training and see something we don't, and see their attitude and see different things from the likes of like a Sigurdsson.
Totally.
And you think, well, I need you around the squad. So let's see what he thinks of them firsthand. And obviously, a lot of the players are still away. Like Sir Richarlison, Dean's resting up, Pickford with England, Calvert-Lewin. So quite a few of them are still not with the squad, but and some are in isolation.
All right. I'm going to be honest. I haven't got very high expectations for the standard of football from what I've been reading on like The Athletic or different sources where they've been talking about Rafa Benitez and some Newcastle forums and stuff. They're saying he is very much like shut up shop, very compact team. Counter-attacking, low block. I think Evertonians are going to get bored again. I think this is very much a continuation of Ancelotti. Pragmatic, a balanced approach, making the best of what he's got. And I just think that's not going to be good enough right now. I think patience is gone. We should have maybe stuck with a manager who was going to build a squad from maybe 4 or 5 years ago and really persisted with that and tried to build something. But I think he's realised it's not working, and he's trying to go for experienced head to guide this group. This isn't good enough. They might have played international football at different stages in their career, but he's not coming in and trying to take a group of quality players and make them gel. We actually think we need to rebuild. This isn't just I'm going to come in, make these gel, and make them play good together. This is fucking hell. We're slow. We're shy.
Hang on, guys.
This and this and this. And we need to go and do it now. And with the starting in 4 weeks.
I kind of disagree, because I think what we've hired is a coach with a lot of experience to try and deal with this group of mishmash players from different managers. I think if you hire someone like Nuno and you try and get him to work with mishmash, I'm not sure how well that works. I think that's
guys, sorry to interrupt. I'm gonna have to shoot off. Got to pick my more. So I'm really sorry.
Don't have to explain.
Okay.
See you later.
I'll see you later, guys.
See you later. Bye now. Bye. Dave, where were we?
We were talking about the type of manager that we've hired.
You think he's coming in to steady the ship for a continuation, but there was talk of the board being at loggerheads really about this appointment and being very little cohesion. And one manager wanted one member of the board wanted one name, and he wanted another name, and there wasn't any set direction there. I am concerned that Marcel Brands is being brought in to be director of football, but not actually being allowed to do his job, which is appoint the best manager for the club. And I also think a lot of that is down to we don't have a football philosophy, we don't have a style of play, but ultimately it is a football philosophy. What type of football club are we? What type of football team do we want to be? Well, we know what Everton is about: aggressive, high press, dynamic football, cross the ball, aggressive. Find a manager who can come in and implement that style. But I think it's not working like that, because we've bought all these players that don't actually fit any style. and it's just a case of, okay, well, I've got him, and I've got to make do with it. And really, it's very dysfunctional. And I think we need to be more ruthless. And I honestly think we're going to still be watching Sigurdsson and Gomez and all these players next season. But I think he needs to come in and go, actually, you know what? I've watched you for 4 years and you've done fuck all. You're out.
Well, it's the same players he's going to have to deal with, isn't it? We're going to have to. He's going to have to work out a way that the system that we're going to be playing, and it's likely it's going to be similar to Ancelotti's systems, and he's going to find that he's going to need a lot of players, and it's going to take a while. It's not going to happen overnight.
At Newcastle, he played 5 at the back a lot.
He did, but Newcastle were very poor defensively, leaking goals. So he steadied the ship from the back. He didn't have an awful lot of attacking talent. But, I'm trying to remember now. Did they have St. Maximin? I think he came in around that time. So that's what I was trying to say before.
Matt Ritchie, but just thinking also a problem that he's got, he's not actually going to be working with his main forwards for like weeks. Calvert-Lewin, not here.
As I said, they're off, aren't they? And Richarlison, as far as I'm aware, has pushed to go to the Olympics, and it's going to go through.
So Moise Keane can come back to training on Saturday. Do you think that's an opportunity to just say, look, you're here now. This is what you've done at PSG. Well done. Go and stake a claim and go and become number 1. You know, the number 9 for Everton.
I think this is down to Rafa now whether he wants Keane, because from all intents and purposes, I think he's done. I think he's finished, and I think he doesn't want to be here. From the experience he's had, it didn't work out for him. I highly doubt he didn't want to come back, but we're paying his contract, so he's going to have to come back to training. But there's a lot of reports flying around, isn't there, about loans, but loans to buys, all this business, and it just seems a matter of time.
He's not going to go on loan.
He shouldn't go on loan. He should be sold, in my opinion. But he might come good.
But it's not going to happen. They said they only want a permanent deal, which makes sense. Why would we loan him? He comes back then after a loan with 2 years on his contract, having not kicked a ball for us in 2 years, and playing, football in France with the best players in the world around him, and Farmers League. So what's that really going to do for his value? And it would be brainless.
I suppose if it would help, they could. The only thing they could loan him, but tell them they've got to pay all the wages. Then we're not paying anything, but they're getting a year rebate on the finances.
Well, no, because he's not. It's not like David. This isn't like we're getting rid of Morales or someone who's literally come to the end of their career and we can't get rid. This is a 21-year-old who scored 17 goals last season for PSG.
Yeah, so we demand a loan fee.
10 million loan fee.
Doesn't make any sense for anyone to do that. They should just buy him outright.
Buy him. I don't think he'll cut it, but it depends what system we're going to play. If we're going to play 4-4-2 and he can be the one who plays with the partner, Calvert-Lewin, then okay, let's see. But we need guys and we need players who are going to run off him. Otherwise, it's going to be the same problem.
Has he played that much at centre forward recently for PSG? I've seen him come on a lot on the wing, and Mbappe very often stays up front.
Okay, so he's proven he can score 17 goals playing right wing for PSG as a bit part player. To me, I would keep him in the group for this season. I really would.
I don't know how his mentality is here.
Come on, David. Last season we were looking at it and we were playing like Coleman. We had to play 5 at the back, which is why we talked about that a minute ago under Rafa saying, no, play 5 at the back. We would be forced into doing that again this season unless we have players like Moise Keane and we go, actually, you know what? We've got someone who can play right wing here or right-sided forward or centre forward. Stick by him and give him a go.
I think we're not in the league of the Champions League teams at the moment, and we might have to sell him just to raise the finances to bring in genuine wide players, because one strength we do have, you could argue, is in that central striking position where Keane is going to want to play. So he's arguably third choice coming in. You've got Tosun still, who's going to be trying to get back fit, and you're going to try and get rid of him, but he's going to still be around. So, it's not an area we need desperately. So if we sold him, it would be okay if we kept Richarlison. we need width. So it depends on how we're going to juggle the finances. How much money do we have to spend?
It is coming down to that. I think there is a balance between what can be done, obviously, without a manager and also these sort of COVID seasons. I think we need to be realistic now and say that Bernard and Iwobi aren't going to cut it at this level. Andre Gomez hasn't done anything for 3 years, and Gylfi Sigurdsson makes the transition far too slow. And he's not scoring enough, goals to justify being in the team, and he's not creating enough. I know last season he had a good season, but the way he influences the whole style of play, it's not pleasing on the eye. I think we've got too many players that we need to get rid of, and it's frustrating, and we need to bring too many in, and it's not going to happen. And I think we need to accept that we're probably going to go into the season with the same group and maybe 1 or 2 new signings. And it's scary because we desperately need a right back, we desperately need a right winger, and we need players with pace. I think we've got to bring in players in the spine of the team who are younger, who have the drive and are confident players, and they want to progress. We seem to be taking players who have maybe gone to a peak and they're on their way down, and we pick them up on their way down. I think it's better to pick them up on the way up. And if we grow as a club with them, they'll stay. If they will go. We were a stepping stone.
You've just used for the manager. If you
he's on the way down.
That's on the down.
He's been on his down. He's in China and Newcastle. He's actually below down. I have no doubt if he was and wasn't in Liverpool, we would not be going for Rafa Benitez. But we need to go. We need to take players who want to go up the top, younger players, confident players who want to impress, and not these players who are like 27, 28, on the way down, who've peaked and maybe not done it at a big top club. And I look at Andre Gomez and Yerry Mina, and I actually class them as players that have gone and failed at the best and are coming on the way down. Are they motivated to do that? I'm not so sure.
It comes down to your...
I'm muting you because, and I'm muting myself. Welcome back to Follow Everton. Sorry about the short break. We've just lost David there. I know there's a few of you still watching, and I want your input now in the comments if possible. So we've appointed Rafa Benitez as manager. What is your gut feeling on this? Is this a good appointment or a bad one? David, are you ready to come back in? We'll ignore that. We need our own studio, don't we? This is what makes it such a beautiful channel. Can't hear you. Are you muted?
Muted, yeah. No, I was just saying it's the character of the player, and I think it comes down to the scouting network at the end of the day and brands. And it's obviously Ancelotti came in, he wanted that test and tried players, didn't he? The quality players he'd already played, managed, and now he's gone. Let's see, can brands take over the vision, or will Benitez demand that he gets his way? What sort of players does he want? We don't really know, but it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? How it's going to work between Benitez and brands.
He hasn't got a good reputation. If you look at some of the things people have been saying about Benitez, is that he's very stubborn and he wants to do it his own way, or he won't listen. He doesn't get close to the players, and they find him distant. And as fans, we want a manager we can relate to. I'm not quite sure he is that, but we're willing to give him a chance. But for the players, he's got to get a tune out of them. And do you think that sort of character, a distant figure who's, very calm, but, he doesn't really show any emotion, is going to be the right way to motivate this group who couldn't motivate themselves to get out of bed for a £3 million check? Do you know what I mean?
I see him getting a bit more heated than Ancelotti was. And you can see from that first training video that I know it's the first day and he's going to greet the players, but you could see he was kind of getting engaged with them and getting them in together and chatting to them individually, which is what we need to see. So yeah, I think we've got to give him a chance.
We'll give him a chance.
We have to give him a chance.
How can he, really, how can we prepare well for the pre-season with so many players missing? We're talking about the quarantine as well.
But it's confusing, isn't it? We've only got 3 pre-season games in at the moment. And I know we only had 3 last year because of COVID and the short gap, but this time we need a proper pre-season. So are they planning to put more games in July, or I don't get that at the moment. But
hang on,
3
just
games.
We've got no goalie, no centre forward, and no winger, and no backup centre forward.
And how long are they going to be off for? 3 weeks. So they're going to come back like 3 weeks before the first match, sort of thing. 2 weeks before the first match.
I reckon Calvert-Lewin will have 2 weeks off, and then we're back in training 2 weeks from Sunday, and then come in on the Monday. So if that's the 25th, you'll come back maybe the 26th of July.
Well, we play Man United on the 7th of August. That's like the game before the last game before the season starts the following week.
You know what? It's such a good fixture list. If you look at the first 6 fixtures, it's really favourable. We need to hit the ground running. You'd almost wish we were playing some of these teams where we maybe needed to go to, like Man City away, and we're probably going to get battered anyway. But the fact we've got these games, we should be winning, and fans will demand us to win. But we're probably going to have to play Iwobi, Bernard.
I think we need to be really patient. I mean, you'd expect a bounce, wouldn't you, with the players trying to impress the manager? But by the time the first game comes around, will that be over? Will they feel like their chances are over, and they'll see players coming in, transferred in their positions or transferred out? So they'll get the message by that point anyway.
Do you think Evertonians are actually going to have the patience for any? I think the tolerance this season is going to be really quite small.
I just lost my patience myself with it, because obviously we thought we had the manager, or most people thought we had the manager to take us forward. It was pulled beneath our feet, and now it's like, well, I just don't know where to go, because we're starting from scratch. We've got a manager that is dividing the fan base. We don't know the direction we're moving forward in. It's not really excitement at the moment. It's more of a apprehension until we see some football.
Which is not what you want. And let's be honest, the situation with Rafa is, because it's Rafa Benitez, the margin for error is really small. But it's made even worse.
Games, and we're all over him, aren't we? Get him out.
Get the cop out. No, I know. But what I'm saying is the margin for error is small, even though because it's Rafa. And the margin of error is even smaller because the patience of fans has gone. We're sick of seeing the same players that we don't like. And we're sick of the style of football. And we're sick of just doing nothing year upon year. We haven't done anything for like 7 years. And even that, we finished 5th. Missed out on the Champions League very narrowly. So the margin for error is really small, and the fans' patience is really small. It is a recipe for disaster. And the only way around that for me right now is in the recruitment and showing some intent in the market. Go and sign Denzel Dumfries from Ajax. Bring him in at right back and set a statement out and say, look, we needed a right back. We've brought one in. Now we need a right winger. Go and pick. There's probably hundreds of fucking right wingers who've got pace, skill, can cross the ball and score a goal. Honestly, that's their job description. We just happen to have right wingers and left wingers who don't do that. Therefore, for me, they are redundant. They have no place at the club. And I'm talking about like Alex Iwobi, and it's harsh on Bernard, but Bernard. And to some extent, Alisson fit that bill last season. He was doing nothing as well. So, we've got players in the positions who aren't doing the job. So you've got to recruit, and there must be loads out there who would jump at the chance to come in.
You just wonder why we signed these players in the first place. And we're watching games where they played well. So it's all about the recruitment now, and getting the right players. I've seen Dumfries in the Euros, and he's looked the real deal. more of a right mid rather than a right back in that tournament because he was flying forward. But we need that option on the right hand side. It would open up so much of the attacking play. So I think that's a real statement if we can get him. But now everyone's in for him, aren't they? And that's the trouble when you're going for these players and they're playing well in other competitions that the public are watching.
When I look back at last season in particular and think about the way to improve, Ancelotti actually did have a game plan at the start of the season, 4-3-3. A false right winger who's going to come in and let the right back bomb forward and get the protection from the right-sided midfielder. And Richarlison would come inside and Dean would bomb on and cross in. There was some sort of plan there, and he quickly got rid of that because he knew that the defence wasn't good enough. And we still were a bit light in midfield. And I think we've got to address that. It's the same problem. And this is why we're talking about signing maybe Ben White, who's he's a good player. He's just coming into the England setup now. He's quite quick. He's a quick, strong defender. I think he's an upgrade on Michael Keane. I think when you've got Keane and Mina, you're just really restricted on the style of football you can play. It's a low block. You've got to be deep because any ball in behind, unless there's a lot of players pressing to stop that action taking place, you've got to play a low block. And I think, by doing that, you automatically are becoming a counter-attacking team, which I don't really think fans want to see, especially at Goodison. So, and unless you sign players with pace in the heart of the defence, maybe a Ben White, and maybe another midfielder who's a young midfielder on the way up, you might see Everton as a stepping stone. But, if we grow as a club and achieve something, might stay. I think that's the way we've got to go forward rather than, this is just, for me, this is going to be more of the same. And I think we'd be lucky to finish in the top 10 next season with the same group and Rafa in charge. And that's painful. I've just renewed my season ticket. And I know that I'm going to have to watch 19 games of this at home. And I'm not trying to sound too negative. I'm just saying, I think a lot of fans are sharing this sentiment now of apprehension and not excitement. How do you correct that? With recruitment.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with pretty much everything you've said there. I think there's so many questions still to be answered, though, isn't there? That's the problem. It's who we're going to recruit and which of the players are going to stay. And you got your James Rodriguez question marks all over that because of his relationship with Benitez in the past at Madrid. Is he going to stay? And
you know what it's like at the likes of Madrid. The media, it's politics, and they come up with a lot of stories. For me, it's probably a load of rubbish.
Well, it'd just be interesting to see how he embeds him in the team. And obviously, you can't really count on him consistently. He's more like when he's here, he's there. I think when he came in at the start of last season, it was like 4-3-3. We'll use him as the main man to go through the play. And then he was out for a lot of games, and it did disrupt our play. And we just can't rely on that. So, we use him when we can. But we have to bring him.
I mean, I don't know whether it's just partly because we're so used to watching like rubbish football, but he's on another level. His passing football, and I'd be devastated if he left. I don't think he will go, but I think you have to please these types of players and bring in better players around him and supplement him. Otherwise, no wonder. I mean, I saw the training photos and I thought, fucking hell. Could you imagine being a really good footballer in this group and looking around you and you've got Davis, Sigurdsson, Gomez, no goal involvements last season for Gomez. Sigurdsson is just, he turns so slow and never like a good quality pass. It's frustrating. And I just think I wouldn't blame him for going, really. But we've got to keep him and we've got to supplement him with better players.
I just don't know where to start because if you start from the back is arguably strong as it is. It's just can't play in certain way. So there's no major problems with the back. Maybe at right back, obviously we do need to address that at some point. The main holes are sort of in the attacking phase of play. It's when we pick up the ball in midfield and out wide. So you could argue, do you address those areas first, or do you start and you build from the back? I mean, they always say you build from the back, and then you've got a solid base to work off. So, but I feel like we need to address the attacking issues and maybe long term that will not help us.
We're going to see the compact football that we saw last season under Benitez, and I think hopefully he's going to bring in a couple of really dynamic counter-attacking players, which will make that actually more of a viable way.
It will, but it won't be a long-term solution.
We were playing low block without having the players.
It won't be a long-term solution, and it won't help James' play style. But I mean, what would you take? Would you take White for 40 million, or would you spend 40 million on a promising winger?
If White can play like high line well, then automatically we're playing 20 yards closer to the opponent's goal. Calvert-Lewin's playing close to the opponent's goal. It's going to be more effective for us. But I think
you're thinking about White and Godfrey, aren't you?
It's like love and marriage. You can't have one without the other. As the song goes.
Can you play White? Can you play White with Godfrey? I don't know if that works.
Well,
I think
they're a bit small, aren't they? 6 foot together.
They wouldn't win the aerial battles. I think you'd end up playing Mina in between them. And White is naturally suited to playing in a back three. So I think it would make a lot of sense then to have Godfrey on the left and Mina in the middle and White on the right. And play the high line, but let those two, either side of Mina, do the...
There's a high line very Mina playing, David. It's never going to happen while Mina is playing in defence. Ball
let Mina be the one. Mina's the one who steps in to try and win the ball off the striker as it's coming into feet, and the other two drop off and chase the ball in behind if it goes in behind.
Thank God we're not in charge. We're going to wrap things up now. Dave, thanks for joining.
Okay, let's see what happens then.
Have you got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm just waiting for something to happen. I'm more bothered about England, I'll be honest, right at the moment. But I mean, obviously, I know you were having this debate before. The club football does mean a lot more to me than England, but at the moment, with it being the Euros and we haven't been to a final, and it's the forefront of my mind. But we'll have to see what happens there as well, because I find it hard to believe. Obviously, we haven't won a trophy at Everton for quite a while now, and it feels like a long time. But if you put it into perspective of England, who have had arguably better sides in respective to who they've been playing against in tournaments for 50 years, then they're the ones who have been underachieving massively to not be in the final for 55 years. So, you know, it's all in perspective. But
I'm going to
we need to address it.
I'm going to ask a question to you and those who are still watching. Everton to win the FA Cup next season, or England to win the Euros?
How did I know
I'm going to be honest and say Everton to win the FA Cup any day of the week, and twice on.
Of course, I would take Everton to win the FA Cup. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a side thing. England, it's not like forefront of attention.
Everton to finish in the top 4, or England to win the Euros. Again, there's no.
It's still Everton to get in the top 4. It's simple. Basically, Everton to do something is
Everton to finish in the top 8. Dave, nice to see you, and we'll be back on the next video. Hopefully, it won't be as long before we next get on. We're waiting for some news, and hopefully, we'll be back on next week with another video. Guys, if you're watching, give us a thumbs up on Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. It's great to have you with us on our channel. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.